Darren and I have gotten a tremendous amount of questions about cover crops here in the last few years. We want to talk about that as we head into the cover crop seeding season this summer.
Let's talk about prevent plant first of all, because we saw a lot of situations in 2019 where fields couldn't get planted. And in quite a few of those cases, farmers were able to get a cover crop in later in the season. So we're really excited to see in 2020, now that those fields, many of those fields anyway, got planted to crops like corn and soybeans, how are they going to respond where we had a cover crop versus where we didn't? What we've seen over the years and what we've heard from other farmers who regularly plant cover crops, they see higher yields, they see more productivity due to better soil health by having that cover crop out in the field, and they really prefer to have a crop growing in the field as much as they possibly can throughout the entire season.
Well, I'm going to disagree a little bit about the higher yields thing. We don't always see that. But the main reasons why we do like cover crops out there, first for me is weed suppression. Then I look at soil erosion. We can reduce soil erosion. Building soil organic matter is really important. And one of the biggest things coming out of Prevent Plant is just to get a home for beneficial microbes in the soil. If you have nothing growing on that field all summer long, you're more likely to have fallow syndrome next year, which means you didn't have enough mycorrhiza fungi living through this year, so next year you could have ample nutrients available. So there are a lot of good things that can come out of cover crops, but Darren mentioned this higher yields thing. I don't buy that, and here's the reason why. In some areas, absolutely. And I'm not saying don't plant a cover crop. I want you to plant a cover crop. But here is the problem that I saw this spring. There were some guys that let their cover crop grow through the winter, causing a couple of issues. Number one is the soil remained wet. Well, if you're in North Dakota, you don't want that soil wet when it comes April 15th and it's time to plant. That delayed planting for some guys, which will push yields down. The other thing is, in terms of just having that cover crop out there, in drier areas, you can actually get moisture sucked up by the cover crop early in the spring or late in the fall, and now you've got a soil that is too dry. So personally, if I'm in, let's say, North Dakota or just the western corn belt in general, I'm probably going to suggest terminating that cover crop prior to freeze up in the fall to make sure we know that it's 100% dead so we can go into the spring with a good, fresh, clean start.
All right, let's take another situation. We talked about prevent plant a little bit. Let's talk about if you've got a crop that's going to be harvested in the summer. For many growers, that means wheat. Well, after a wheat crop, do you still have enough year left to raise another cash crop, or is a cover crop a better option on your farm?
Where we're going with this is cover crops are good for overall soil health and the reasons I mentioned earlier. But let's keep in mind, you're not going to get any income off that. Now, if you graze it, then that's not a cover crop anymore. That is a cash crop. If you harvest it, that is a cash crop. If there's something you can do so you can generate income off that, that's got to be the first goal. So what Darren's going for here is don't just assume, hey, we're just going to throw a cover crop in and the rest of the season's dead. Well, maybe you have time to grow something yet where you could get some income off it somehow, some way, whether it's for livestock, grain, seed, whatever it is.
All right, we mentioned having enough season left to raise a crop, but do you have enough season left to raise a cover crop? And this one is pretty interesting, depending on where you're at, to think about, because if you've got a lot of warm weather yet and you have some moisture coming to get that cover crop started, you don't need a whole lot of time for that cover crop to provide some benefit. Now, if you've got 60 days, well, that's plenty almost anywhere you go with just about any kind of cover crop. With some cover crops, if your goal is just to stop erosion and get something growing out there, you can use even less time with certain species.
Okay, in terms of cost, we would tell you don't spend more than 15 or 20 bucks on your cover crop. In terms of blend, we really do like blends. So personally, if I'm going to raise a cover crop, I'm probably going to have a grass, a broadleaf, maybe a turnip radish, something like that. I'd like to get a few different things out there. The only big exception would be if I'm trying to break a disease cycle or an insect or mite cycle, then I might have to leave out a certain species. But make sure you have something that will host mycorrhiza fungi moving forward, and make sure that the cover crop will help you achieve what your number one goal is, whether that's building organic matter, reducing soil erosion, stopping weeds, whatever it is.
We think cover crops are useful for many purposes on the farm. We're big fans of cover crop. Just take a look at how much season you have left. If there is a cash crop option for you where you can actually make some money, great. If not, a cover crop could be the next best thing.
If you go to our resources tab at the agphd.com website, we do have some more information about cover crops for you there. And when you're on the AgPhD site, you might find some information about our Weed of the Week as well. We'll tell you what it is coming up next.